got some cleanup to do here today, and it's kind of interesting because a whole bunch of stories have a bunch of different conclusions to them. And in the past couple of days, there was a story that came out that a whole bunch of Kamala Harris's books were out there, and some fucking smart-ass cocksucker just decided to comment because he did a little bit of, I don't know, headline searching on YouTube, and he found my video, came across it, and said, you gonna issue a retraction? Why don't you go fuck yourself, faggot? How about that one? I'm in a really shitty mood, so it could make for very interesting videos, or it could make for a dumpster fire. Who fucking knows? Who fucking cares? It's exactly like the Washington Post right now, because whenever you see a headline like this from these moronic motherfuckers, no, officials are not handing out Harris's picture book to migrant kids. Well, first of all, they're illegal aliens, if we're just going to be specific about that. And yes, they are in fact handing out her picture book. One person got it, okay? That is the only one that was there. And if that moron decided that, hey, maybe I'll actually watch this video, I might actually be in danger of learning something, so he probably just clicked it off quickly after he was leaving his cunty little comment. But that's up for him to do. Have fun, fucker. Go back to pole smoking. So you won't be able to tell, but about, 2/3 down the article, you get to something to sink your teeth into when it actually comes to not, fluffing up Kamala Harris, President Harris's ego, and then you get into the actual story itself. New York Post ran a photo on the front page, headlines cam on it, along with a story falsely claiming unaccompanied migrant kids brought to the U.S.-Mexico border to a shelter in Long Beach, California will be given a copy of her book, of her 2019 children's book, Superheroes Are Everywhere in Their Welcome Kits. I also said when we were taking a look at the photo, like I said in the beginning there, it looks like, they have about $50 worth of stuff there, and then you can see in the back things look a little bit different, so clearly there's something else going on. And you could see in the picture that we were critiquing, things were a little bit different there. Not everybody was getting the exact same stuff over and over again. In fact, it was a couple of different things in each specific care package that these illegal aliens were getting. But this is the Washington Post after all, so they're just going to go ahead and take the most uncharitable interpretation of what was being said. But hey, we used the exact quote. We're going to hold it against them. But if the Washington Post has that done to them, guess what? We're going to fact check that. Or you know what? We won't even bother. We're just going to go ahead and get one of our other friends, Snopes, the New York Times, whoever, they'll run their fucking fact check, and you can just already see it was all totally out in force over here on the Twitter, because that's where most people get their fucking information. What's happening? Kamala Harris's picture book is not being handed out by officials and to migrant kids. Official sources confirm. Homeless photographers offer unique perspective when Canada might lift their restrictions based on new vaccine modeling. Like that even fucking matters, McLean's. It's just going to be locked down forever because this place is a socialist hellhole. Federal investigators searched Rudy Giuliani's apartment and office, and that's what we're going to be talking about next after we're done with this wrap-up hour. But you could see Washington Post, Forbes, Daily Beast, this asshole from, let me guess, he probably reports for NBC News. Of course he does. All of these people work for the exact same people. It doesn't much matter what the name on the check says. It all comes from the same fucking bank account from these ideologically possessed assholes. But yeah, no, let's finish this one. Make sure to issue that correction, you fucking dickhead. Fox News published a similar article. Oh yes, let's continue to punch up because nobody else outside of this one article. Mostly you guys just wall off all your content on the Washington Post. But this one is wide open there because we have the high ground on this one. Fox News published a similar article the following day. The authors were Italiano, and Fox News, Italiano was the author of the article, and she just went on a fucking spurg fit and rage quit all of her platforms, so fuck her too. Reporter Morgan Phillips, both Fox News and New York Post are owned by the Murdoch family. Oh, see, Though Fox News, Fox Corp and News Corp respectively. Yeah, but they're all run by his shitty kids who are fucking as leftist as the morons. Jeff Bezos owns the fucking Washington Post, and the New York Times is run by the same type of ideological morons. Fox News article repeats the false claim that Harris's children's book, Superheroes Are Everywhere, is included in welcome packs for migrant kids arriving at the Long Beach Convention and Entertainment Center, a recently covert influx facility, along with basic hygiene supplies and clothing, photographs show. Yeah, what about that is wrong, okay? That one picture that was there showed that book, a backpack, a whole bunch of hygiene stuff, a new pair of sneakers, and then you could see on the cot behind it something else, the same general layout, a backpack, a book, some soap, some shampoo, and a pair of sneakers. Eagle-eyed observers, however, will notice that it's the same photograph in each case. A lone copy of Superheroes Are Everywhere appears on a cot propped up against a black backpack. Long and short of it is, it was a donation drive for whatever. You could bring in your used books, then they'd get repurposed out, and it just so happened that it made it to these illegal alien facilities, and the kids got whatever fucking book was there. Apparently somebody realized, like, ew, I fucking bought this, and then just handed it back in, and then it got redistributed out to somebody who probably can't even fucking read the English copy of it. But of course, you have the fucking Washington Post down here. We contacted News Corp's media team and the New York Post publicist and received no response. And then it goes on a couple of different times saying that, in fact, we did receive word from the New York Post, and they updated their article. Why don't you update your article, you fucking dickheads? Anyways, on to a new story, which kind of seems like an old story because somebody got drunk, somebody got intoxicated. Clearly, she's fucking huffing on something that's about a third the size of what she's normally sticking in her mouth. And, got behind a wheel, ran through a cop. What's being sensationalized right now is driver who allegedly struck, killed NYPD officer said fuck the police in a podcast hours before the crash. Okay, a little bit of context is necessary. Suspected drunk driver Jessica Bouvard, I'd imagine something like that, who allegedly struck and killed a New York City police officer, went on her rant in her podcast hours before the crash and said fuck the police. I'm sure it was an enlightened take, and I would just be so inclined to be taking up her opinions on life. Bouvard, 32, empty egg carton, uploaded an hour and 51-minute live stream to Facebook under the name Phoenix Michelle. What's that, her out-of-work stripper name? Which started out blaring the NWA song, Fuck the Police. Okay, I could show you my copy. I got the fucking greatest hits NWA, even though it's kind of redundant because they really only put out, one fucking album, and then the rest of them were just scraps of discarded material. But anyways, it's on there. It's right over there. I got a whole host of fucking NWA spin-off albums. Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and the NWA proper. Okay, she was singing along to a fucking very popular rap song. Okay, I wouldn't really read too much into it, other than the fact that, Bouvard also went on a rant about Derek Chauvin, of course, because she's one of these ideologically possessed people who will just recount anything that she hears from the mainstream press, and that, black people are getting hunted down, and Derek Chauvin was a racist, even though race had nothing to do with it, but whatever, she gets her fucking byline, continues to spew it out, because the people who do all this criticizing never really offer any solutions, and only just want to tear down other people to bring them down to their same failure of a level. And I don't think anybody puffing on whatever the fuck that is, some little fucking pipe, who knows what's in there? Who cares what's in there? In her shitty studio apartment, that's probably, $3,500 a month that she probably sucks dick in order to keep over her head. Yeah, she crashed into a police officer. Cool. Like NWA say about the police, I'm gonna go kill me, at least I get... Oh, if you're going to kill me, at least I get to take someone with me. I'm one of those people. If I'm gonna go, someone's coming. She continued. Bouvard closed her live stream saying she would return next week and added, until then, fuck the police. That's probably how she signs off on every one of her fucking podcasts. Everybody has a little opening quip or a little closing quip. I do too. That's one of the only kind of hack things that I'd like to phase out at some point or another. Used to have a little opening stinger, and if you guys have been with me for a while, you do know what that is, and I just found it cringe, and that's why I don't beg for likes, subscriptions, or comments, because I think it's all fucking queer. Do whatever you want. Listen, I don't even know. You guys probably aren't even listening. What, we're just about 10 minutes into this video? Most people have already tuned off. I don't care. That's fine. If you're watching, you're great. Thank you very much. I put a lot of work into this kind of stuff. Doesn't pay off, but whatever. I'm just going to continue to do it until I'm fucking dead, so who knows. Slain officer was identified as Anastasios Tsakos. Good Greek kid. 43 years old and was a 14-year veteran on the police force. That really sucks. So we don't have any video footage. We don't have anything really outside of just what her motivations could have been. I'm not willing to throw the book at her. I just think life has already done that to her, and vehicular manslaughter, vehicular homicide probably fits one of those charges. After the investigation goes through, something will get charged to her, and hopefully she serves a significant amount of time. But she's also a minority, she's also a woman, and women always get lesser sentences than their male counterparts doing the exact same stuff. That information is already out there. Those pieces of research have already been done. It's about 60% of what a male would end up serving. And yeah, she'll probably, who knows if this is her first time offense, or who knows whatever sort of structural inequality she can cite as being the reason why she did that. So who knows how woke the judiciary in New York is and how it'll affect her. I don't know. We'll follow up on it as soon as more information comes out. And how about the Arizona audit? Okay, there was going to be another hearing today, and guess what? The judge actually let the audit go through. So unless the Democrats decide that they're going to be suing a little bit more, yeah, they're out of options, at least on that lawsuit. An Arizona judge on April 28th rejected an attempt by the Arizona Democratic Party to immediately halt an audit of the 2020 election in the state's largest county, Maricopa County. Superior Court Judge Daniel Martin said Democrats didn't provide substantive evidence of any breaches or threatened breaches of voter privacy. Yeah, we pointed out in the pictures that were provided, cameras fucking everywhere. Multiple people at multiple tables. It was going to be impossible for them to do anything. But you know what? You can just make up your baseless accusations, throw them out there, waste time in the courts. Hey, look at this judge at least took up this lawsuit, even as flimsy as you might think that it is. Took a look at it and was like, hey, guess what? Yep, looks like there's something here. I'm going to have to decide on this at a later date instead of just going, that's Orange Man on it. Fuck it. Speaking of Orange Man, he got to mock the Oscars because, like I said, we're doing a lot of cleanup here today. The Oscars itself, yeah, train wreck. 9.58 million people tuned in. And we got hot takes from Mr. Trump, of course. Don't be so politically correct and boring. Let's get to his actual statement here because it's great, because all of these little statements that he brings out when they're not endorsements of political candidates, which haven't been great so far, they're always very, very funny. They're very, very cutting. What used to be called the Academy Awards is now called the Oscars, a far less important and elegant name. Had the lowest television ratings in recorded history, even much lower than last year, which set another record low. No falsehoods detected. If they keep with this current ridiculous formula, it will only get worse, if that's possible, Trump said. Go back 15 years. Look at that formula they used. Change the name back to the Academy Awards. Don't be so politically correct and boring, and do it right. Also, bring back a great host. Yes. Who was the last one? Ricky Gervais? Did he host the Oscars? I know he hosted the Golden Globes, and that's where he toured. That's where everybody's, if you take any clips out of his famous speeches, ripping into celebrities and woke culture in and of itself, and the fact that they just sit in a small room and huff each other's farts. You know, prior to the mask epidemic, now they just pre-fart into the masks and strap them onto their face. No, that's where he was doing all of his ripping, and I think he was going to, but then I think it was the year after that, Kevin Hart was set to host the Oscars, which would have been great because Kevin Hart is a very, very funny guy. He comes from the group that came up in the early 2000s, in the late 90s, Keith Robinson, Patrice O'Neal, Jim Norton, Bill Burr, all of those guys there, Nick DiPaolo, probably my personal favorite out of the group. Of course, he came up with those guys. He still carries on that exact same message, that same type of intensity. He keeps that same energy, and he's a great host. It would have been great, but I think it was a couple of tweets from a long bygone era making a couple of fag jokes, and it's just like, what the fuck? Who gives a shit? And he's like, yeah, no, take your fucking gig and go fuck yourselves. And then, yeah, they ended up posting record low ratings, so sucks to suck, I guess, but you do love to see it. But yeah, just to finish off Trump's statement, I suppose I forgot where I was at. These television people spend all their time thinking about how to promote the Democratic Party, which is destroying our country, and cancel conservatives and Republicans. Once again, no lies detected. That formula simply hasn't worked very well for the Academy! ! Thank you for your service, sir. We will get back to you very, very shortly. Even Arnie, with his really bad political takes lately, had to admit that the Oscars are insanely boring. I basically turned it off at the point, it was just not something that was keeping my attention. Arnold Schwarzenegger, like most of America, couldn't stomach watching the Oscars. I basically just turned it off, and I couldn't watch it anymore because there's so much talent there, and on the stage it was so boring, he said during a guest spot on Jimmy Kimmel Live, which was actually viewed by about, a tenth of the percentage of the people who tuned into the Oscars and eventually tuned out. How could you make this with all the talent so boring? Yeah. So if you couldn't even get somebody who should be on your side, somebody who was a soft Republican, somebody who was the biggest name in Hollywood from the early 80s all the way through the time that he set himself up for the governorship in early 2000s, And the guy is still, okay, whenever anybody asks action star, if it's not Schwarzenegger, it's Sly Stallone, and more often than not, just because it's so fun to say, Arnold Schwarzenegger is the name that immediately comes to mind. The Rock could only hope to be as popular or produce as many great, enjoyable, re-enjoyable films as Schwarzenegger has. I mean, Predator, T1 and T2. Like, I didn't watch the original Terminators when I was younger. They came out a little bit before I was born, and I didn't get a chance to enjoy them until I was in my mid-20s. And T2 still holds up today, okay? If you guys have had any concerns regarding going back and visiting that one, yeah, no, that one holds up fucking perfectly. Commando is a fun watch. There is everything wrong with the story. Actually, you know what? It's the simplest story out there. Somebody kidnaps his daughter. He goes and blows and kills everybody up that's possibly in the way. And then he has a fucking knife fight with a fat guy at the end. It's terrific. It's terrific. And even his later family-friendly stuff, like Jingle All the Way, still terrific. One of the best Christmas movies out there. I could go on for days about my admiration for Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm looking down there to my right, the new encyclopedia of bodybuilding by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then of course, like I mentioned before, big old poster just off to my right once again of him famously in Pumping Iron. The video, his not movie assisted reality, was it one of the first instances of that? Probably. Pumping Iron 76, leading up to the big showdown with Lou Ferrigno, who finished third in that Mr. Olympia, by the way. And it's terrific. I could go off on more of a tangent when it comes to Arnold Schwarzenegger and how much I appreciate him. And like I said before, his political hot takes might not resonate with me any longer. But when it comes to the world of bodybuilding and the world of acting, I will take his opinion on stuff. And if he turned it off, he's probably like a lot of people out there. And like I said, there is one last thing to talk about, and that is actually Arnie's arch nemesis. At least it has been. The guy who tried to replace on The Apprentice did a failure of a job, and then just sat at home sharpening his Conan sword until he could make his big return to Twitter at the end and say that everybody who charged into the Capitol on January 6th is basically Nazis. And I know my father was one. Donald Trump planning to bring back MAGA rallies. I couldn't be happier for this. Okay? It's been said by a lot smarter, a lot more educated people, a lot of people who are closer to this situation. You should just bring these back, okay? And at the first opportunity to do so, definitely do it. And if he's considering doing it, yeah, that's leading me to believe that 2024 is still very much on the docket. He wouldn't be making the speeches that he was, especially at CPAC. He wouldn't be keeping very close to the political climate as he is, even with putting out these lackadaisical endorsements. And what happened with that social media platform? I don't know. Is that coming? Or how about you just endorse something? How about you endorse a place like Gab or Parler or Local, something like that? Okay, someplace that will gladly have you, someplace where you can boost their user base and make an already established platform a lot more powerful. But hey, if you want to build something of your own and then end up fizzling out, like, I don't know what Mike Lindell's Frank platform is doing right now, but it can't be that popular. I really don't see anybody talking about it right now, and it's not even a week old. So hey, maybe give it a little bit of time. Maybe that's the one that he's going to hop on. Who knows? But he's going to be bringing back MAGA rallies, which is terrific news. And yeah, like I said, definitely a good indication that 2024 is very much on the docket. And I think that that's a great thing, mostly because he'd have the opportunity, if Ron Desantis wants to hop on, who we will be talking about just as a little bit of a preamble for the next video as well, to go along with Rudy Giuliani. You can either run with him on the same ticket. It can be the Trump-DeSantis ticket, because Mike Pence, I don't know, he's with the Heritage Foundation. He's doing some kind of consulting work, or he's on a board for them, which is good. That's a good place for Mike. He is, unlike Kamala, basically, if you just bizarro Kamala, that's what it is, right? He was in the shadows. He just did his vice presidential duties. Nobody really cared about him. He was just there whenever he was actually pictured with Trump, which was very rarely, unless it was a significant time, unless it was a joint session speech, unless it was something that needed both of them to be there. He was just the vice president. People knew his name, but didn't know what he sounded like because he spoke so goddamn infrequently. But if he wanted to bring on Ron DeSantis, he could clear the way for him in running in 2028, which I think would be the best way to do it, mostly because Trump needs to put better people around him, and that was the biggest downfall, putting bad people in bad places, okay? In reading Art of the Deal, I finished that a couple of books ago at this point, I do believe, And yeah, you could definitely see the gears turning in his head when he's referencing how he built his empire, his real estate empire, his building empire. He had people around him that he trusted and that he thought were doing the right thing for the company, that had the best intentions of the company, growing, being successful, had those intentions in mind. He took that same mindset, to Washington, D.C., where the people there, they aren't about doing the good thing. They aren't about doing the right thing. They aren't about making the country better. They're about making themselves better. They're about making sure that they have a job the next day. It's not about solving problems, because if they would solve problems, if they would actually build something, they'd be putting themselves out of a job. That's what Trump failed to realize. And once he started to realize that, once he started to put good people in place, the cabal of individuals have already fortified the election to work against him. So if he does that again in 2024, puts some good people around him, knocks everybody out of the way, that opens up the path for Ron DeSantis to continue it on for 8 years, unimpeded. That's my wish. Who knows if that's going to happen? But these MAGA rallies, once again, we'll try to get through this and wrap it up right now because this is going on for quite a while. Like I said, I got a lot of energy today. Don't know if it's good, don't know if it's bad, but fuck it, we're going to put it out there, right? Former President Donald Trump is planning to bring back his famous Make America Great Again political rallies. A source familiar with the discussion confirmed to Breitbart News. CNN reported in tears, or also shaking with cum in their pants, because now they're going to have an opportunity to talk about Orange Man again, which will actually raise their ratings out of the Oscar gutter. May resume his political rallies as soon as May. A great opportunity to bring the people up that he's endorsing, even though I don't like a lot of the endorsements, but show them off as people that he trusts, that are people that everybody can see. Give them visibility, okay? Start building in 2022 when the Republicans are going to absolutely steamroll the midterms, unless something horrific happens that I can't possibly foresee happening right now, at least in the Senate and in the House. Probably take back both. Maybe I'm being a little bit optimistic, but at the same time, I can also see the writing on the wall. There's no reason that the Democrats would be pushing so hard as they are right now if it wasn't for the fact that they are totally 100% scared. And you can see that with every lawsuit and every failure so far with the Arizona audit. Once numbers come out on that one, we'll be able to see what the fuck they're actually so nervous about. Of course, since 2015, Trump's record-setting political rallies allow his supporters to express their enthusiasm for his political agenda and his willingness to be politically incorrect. The former president is expected to emerge from the focal point of his opposition to President Joe Biden's radical left agenda. I don't think you can categorize it as anything else at this point. Everybody used to think that Joe Biden was going to be the moderate president. He would just come in, it would just be, oh yeah, sort of a soft continuation of the Barack Obama years. And then, nah, he's just so far gone that everybody else that's behind the scenes pulling the strings are very far right, or far left. Eventually, at the same point, the fucking far left and the far right become the same thing, so who really cares? No, the far left radicals that are out there that just want to destroy the country because it's just so bad and racist and white supremacy and stuff like that, which will be fun and will be fully throughout his speech tonight to the joint session of Congress, which is only supposed to have like 200 people there. So, okay, there's 100 members of the Senate and 400 plus in the House. So, how are you going to reconcile that? Fuck it. Who knows? Who cares? Just, it'll be handpicked. So it'll be interesting, okay? That's another thing. Last tangent, I promise. It'll be interesting to see who's going to be represented on both sides of the aisle. The Democrats, I don't so much care because they all just kind of vote homogeneously. Actually, it'll be interesting if Sinema or Manchin get chosen from the Senate to represent the Democrats at this time. Just, it might show that they're trying to be partisan if they show up, and if not, or I'm sorry, bipartisan if they do show up. And then if they don't, it's just going to be who's going to be there, if it's going to be Elizabeth Warren, if it's going to be Kristen Gillibrand, if it's going to be that type, if it's going to be the farther left individuals instead of the people who are seen as moderates who aren't really. Sinema for sure, I know that one. Manchin, I don't know. I think he's just confused and he's just the last person in the room being like, I'm a Democrat. Dude, trust me, where's everybody gone? And then on the Republican side, is it going to be Murkowski, Romney, Collins? Is it going to be those guys, or is it going to be Cruz, Hawley, Paul? Who's going to be there? That'll be interesting. And then same in the House. Okay, is it going to be the centrist, or is it going to be the squad over there on the left? Or is it going to be the more radical America First, the Gates, who, funny how that story went completely out of the fucking ether. All of a sudden, hey, it looks like all of that was complete and utter horseshit. Who would have thought that? A Me Too allegation that didn't go anywhere? I'm just as shocked as you are. No, if it's going to be Gates, if it's going to be Jim Jordan, if it's going to be Madison Cawthorn, if it's going to be those guys, or if it's going to be the older establishment type that are just going to sit there and cross their arms and look old and scowly. Who knows? It'll just be interesting, because I'm just looking for a couple of slip-ups from Joe, but that'll be fun. I think that's at like a local time. I'm pretty sure it's 7 o'clock, so within a couple hours this video's probably going up, or the second one, I don't know, depends on how long editing takes. Anyways, according to Trump, I am looking at it very seriously, beyond seriously, Trump said about 2024 in a recent interview. From a legal standpoint, I don't really want to talk about it yet. Exactly. And that's another lesson learned from The Art of the Deal. Okay, keep every option open until you need to make a decision. Okay, be the little lingering voice in the back of every leftist's head, the aura, the specter of Trump, the orange man who lurks in your closet when you least expect it. He's going to pop out and listen, give you the point, the little hand wave, call you fat, but it's all right, you can work on it, okay? I'm a little plump myself, see, it's fine. You can do things like that, just scare all the leftists out there. So yeah, and then if you remember, right at the beginning, after everything was confirmed, I guess, whatever, it was speculated for a long time that Trump would be holding a big MAGA rally on the 20th of January, where he just announced his candidacy for 2024 and start campaigning the entire way through. It could have been possible, of course, and that's, I guess, what January 6th was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a big rally there, the, I forgot, what was it, Freedom Rally at that point? You know, the one where he said fight like hell, and that immediately meant, let's go burn everything down. If you're an out-of-touch idiot, or the same calling call that you'd make in order to, I don't know, protest, say, a Supreme Court justice nomination, or, I don't know, just find yourself into a state capitol house and say, I don't know, Wisconsin. It'd be weird if something like that ever happened, right? Anyways, we got some weird stories to cover next. This was just a little bit of cleanup, and gotta end on a good note, because, hey, if MAGA rallies are making its way back, I'm gonna have an opportunity to go to one, and I just love that idea. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.